Hello there. Welcome to BioConnect's webinar series. Today, an end user's perspective, a platform approach to access control. This informative webinar will discuss key access control trends and how to strengthen your access control security strategy for success in the year ahead as companies start to prepare for the new workplace reality. My name is Josh Levitt, Senior Director of Strategic Partnerships at BioConnect, and I will be hosting this panel discussion today. So, to kick off, I'd like to introduce our panel for today's discussion. Joining us today, specializing in leading and managing security teams and programs within a cloud service environment, Mark Houpt is joining us today as the Chief Information and Security Officer from DataBank, which is a leading provider of enterprise-class data center, cloud, and interconnection services. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you, Josh. It is a pleasure to be here with you and with the other people as well.
Mark, I actually have next questions for you.
Okay.
The new reality has really turned up, our world upside down, and companies have had to pivot quickly to deal with this.
Right.
How is COVID changing the way you think about physical access control?
Well, that's also a great question, and it makes me think about physical access from multiple different perspectives. So typically before COVID, we were looking at physical access as an external threat. Somebody bringing in a weapon inside of a facility, somebody presenting a threat to our perimeter gate or something along those lines. But now we're dealing with situations of medical histories or medical situations that we had not necessarily had to deal with before. So, part of our unified security system is now taking a look at somebody's temperature, looking to see whether there's a mask on their face or not, and using technology to address that rather than our security guard who's sitting behind the security guard window. And in the office there. So that's one aspect. But the other aspect that we have to deal with that a lot of people forget about is dealing with the mental health capacities of people. So many people are locked up, if you will, and have been locked up inside of their homes or maybe even the words locked out, and not locked out of businesses, locked out of offices and so on and so forth. And they want to come back in. And that strain and that stress upon those individuals who are typically more outgoing, gregarious type of individuals, that is driving a lot of how CISOs are looking at physical security these days. We have to address that mental health capacity and the health capacity, the general health capacity of an individual as they come in the door, not just whether or not they're carrying a weapon or they have a potential for being disruptive or whatnot. It's now a whole body, if you will, or a holistic approach to the individual, their entire environment. Unfortunately, we've seen situations where the mental health situation has caused an individual to act erratically or not act as they normally would in situations. And in those cases, you have to get law enforcement involved sometimes or ask them to leave the premises. But that's a reality that we have to deal with as CISOs in physical security and otherwise just because of COVID. This is something new to our environment.
Yeah, that's a great comment about, pre-COVID, it's all about external and those hard security. But I think I read an article, it's basically calling like a soft security where you're wellness and things where you're screening somebody. It's never really been part of the equation, but that's changed. I'm sure it's the same with you, James, right?
Absolutely. We've changed our risk vectors, right, from external to more internal, right? The external still exists, but it's kind of, it's different now. It comes from a different form. I think one of the things that Mark said really kind of resonates with us, right, and the mental health of your employees, right? So where 95% of your employees before you wouldn't have ever had an issue with, right? There's a lot of stress and anxiety just in general, right? And so most people, right, they've been stuck at home for a year. Maybe they're dealing with kids, right? Trying to do school from home, right? Their stress factor has gone up considerably. So like Mark said, you get some behavior that's erratic from people you wouldn't expect that from, right? People are reaching their breaking points a lot faster, right? So now that risk coming from your internal sources has increased.